first off, thank you for watching, but I'll be uploading this video sometime in the near future. Now, I have to make this as quick as I can because I don't have much time, and more to the point, I think I'm rehashing something that you already know. Now, the January 6th committee has said that they're planning on doing more hearings in the future. My view is this: the hearings need to stop, and Donald Trump, the Republicans in Congress and the Senate, and everyone who has a small hand, no matter how tangential or minuscule they had in the January 6th attack, need to be arrested, indicted, charged, and imprisoned. Because every second, and I'm not being paranoid or hyperbolic about this, every single moment that these people are not held responsible for the January 6th attack puts our country at a greater, deeper risk. Now, I'm sorry to even talk like that, and I'm sorry to even say things like that. No, actually I'm not, because quite frankly, it needs to be said. Now, we've been seeing a lot of people making fun of Josh Hawley, acting like a tough guy, raising his fist to the January 6th attackers, his people, the Republican Party people that Donald Trump inspired to be there. But this is not a joke anymore. He is one of the many people on the Republican side that needs to be held responsible for that attack. Now, I'm going to read you something real quick. Let's say it's a paraphrasing of the final arguments of Jim Garrison, the man who brought Clay Shaw, who we thought was involved in the JFK assassination trial. I updated it to the modern times to what we saw on January 6th committee. Listen very carefully, because quite honestly, this needs to be said. We've all become Hamlets in our country, children of a slave whose killer, the ghosts of those died on some appalling questions. What is our Constitution made? What is our citizenship, and more, what are our lives worth? What's the future of a democracy where citizens could push a lie about an election he lost while the machinery of legal action scarcely trembles? John Harrington once said that treason doth never prosper. What is the reason? For if it prosper, none dare call treason. The American people have yet to hear testimony from Trump allies or Trump himself. Why? We've yet seen any text messages or messages, period, emails, or anything from the United States Secret Service. Why? That to steal our election, starting with Donald Trump declaring for January 6th to be a chance to steal our... Just give me a few moments. You, the people, and I have asked these important questions I have just asked you, demanded crucial evidence and testimony from the people involved. The answer from on high has always been national security. What kind of national security we have when we've been robbed of our nation and our freedoms? What kind of national security permits the removal of fundamental power from the people of this nation and validates the ascendancy of an invisible government in the United States? That kind of national security, my fellow Americans, is when it looks like it, smells like it, feels like it, we need to call it what it is: fascism. Plain and simple. The same kind of fascism that Donald Trump and his supporters were pushing for on January 6, 2021. Now, after everything we've seen in these committee hearings, and after everything we've been uncovering, I submit to all of you right here and now that January 6, 2021 was an attempted coup d'etat. It's the most direct and tragic result is the reversal of voting policies, making it harder for people of color, for women, for young people to vote, who usually vote, unfortunately, Democratic. And it was carried out in this country and executed and planned and in the advance at the highest levels of the United States government, including the Republicans in the Senate and Congress and Donald Trump himself. It was an attempted public execution, and it was carried out by like-minded, disciplined people, in the Secret Service, the Republican parties and members of Senate and Congress, the right-wing militia groups, and the White House, including the director of the Secret Service, including Donald Trump's cabinet, and right-wing television media, whom I consider conspirators and accessories after the fact. But there are people out there who are going to say I'm insane, just doing this for money, just doing this because I have a Peloton page somewhere. Well, there is one way to know if I'm paranoid or not. Let's prevail the very Republicans I mentioned earlier and Donald Trump himself to testify before the January 6th committee, or more importantly, let's have the people out there who's involved in all of this say and explain why this all happened and why Donald Trump did absolutely nothing to stop it from happening. Now, all these documents I just named, the testimony from the American people, they're yours, my fellow Americans. You paid for them as taxpayers. I know as sure as hell I did. But the fact is, because Donald Trump and the Republican Party are so incredibly paranoid and scared about these documents and testimony going out, or because you might think you might actually murder those who were involved, you won't be able to see any of those documents or hear any testimony from Donald Trump or any of the Republicans involved in January 6th. Now, I'm in my late 30s. In fact, I'll be celebrating my birthday sometime in the next month. So I'll probably shoveled off this moral coil by the time it all becomes public. However, I'm telling young kids out there to be healthy, to stay in school, to learn about the government, to learn about the law. So one day, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, they can find out exactly what the FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, and the National Guard knew. Hell, they might push it back for centuries, long after America is long passed from the scene. So somewhere or somehow, someone will find out the damn truth. We better, at this point, at this stage of the game, we better learn the truth. Otherwise, we're going to build ourselves another government the same way that the Declaration of Independence tells us to, when the old one just isn't working. Just a little further out west, which is exactly what Donald Trump and his supporters, make no mistake about that, actually wanted. An American nationalist once wrote that a patriot must always be ready to defend his country against his own government. Men and women of the U.S. Justice Department, I hate to be in your shoes here and now. You have a lot to think about. You've seen a lot, the same kind of evidence I've seen, the same kind of evidence millions of Americans have seen over the last few weeks during these public hearings. Please. Now, going back to when we were kids, honestly, I thought it's probably you do, that virtue was its own reward. The good was somehow triumph over evil. The good deeds were their own reward. When you get older, you get wiser, maybe even more cynical, we find out that that is just not true. We learn that individual people have to create freedom. Individual people have to fight for justice, and that is not always easy. Because the truth, fighting for the truth is a threat to power. And so many people have to fight against power at great risk themselves. People like Rusty Bowers, Pat Cipollone, Richard Donahue, Carolyn Edwards, Steve Engel, Benjamin Ginsburg, Cassidy Hutchinson, Greg Jacob, Mike Newland, Sarah Matthews, Maria S.A. Moss, Bong J. Park, Nick Quincy, Brad Raffensperger, Jeff Rosen, Al Schmidt, Mark Short. Every one of these people who testified either in person in front of the committee or by excuse me, or by virtual or video conference by sworn deposition. All of them have taken the risk of being either unelected. The members of the committee are definitely taking that risk. Republicans and Democrats, they're taking that risk. At the very least, these at the very best, a few evil mentions by Donald Trump on Truth Social at worst, or possible even threats against their lives and against their families at the very worst. Now, over the last 2 years, almost 2 years now since the attack, I've had a chance of talking to a lot of Americans, either through social media or in person. Just regular people, not politicians, cops, teachers, parents, church members. A lot of these people, these are just real people. People who want America to be the country that we all grew up in. I certainly do. Why? Because we care. Because we want to know the truth. Because we want our country back, and it's because it still belongs to us as long as Americans have the guts to fight for what they believe in. The truth is probably the most important piece of endeavor that we could ever have. Because the country murders truth. If we can't respect the hearts and minds of people, this is not the country I was born in. It's definitely not the country I want to die in. One second. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, going back to what I was saying. What was I saying? As I was saying, these people, they care about our country. And they believe because it still belongs to us. Our country still belongs to us, as long as we have the guts and the passion to fight in what we believe in. And not pay lip service to those values that we say we believe in. Freedom, equality, justice under the law. And those cherished freedoms are still on the line, especially now, almost a year and a half after January 6th. Maybe long before that. The truth is the most important. As I said earlier, the truth is more important. Is one of the most important values this country has now. Because if the country murders truth, if we can't respect the hearts and minds of the people who testify, the hearts and minds of the people on that committee, the hearts and minds of the people who go out every single year on election day, that this is not the country I was born in, and it's certainly not the country I wish to die in. Paraphrasing an old axiom, authority forgets a dying republic. This was never more or true than the time before and the time after January 6th, 2021, one of the worst moments of our nation's history. Right up there with 9/11, maybe even worse than the 2020 riots. Because what happened that day was American citizens practically declaring war on this country. All done by a sitting president who lost an election, who created a stupid, destructive lie. Who told that lie and continued to tell that lie up until January 6th, and for 187 minutes did nothing to counter that lie. And police officers were beaten, days later committed suicide because no one would believe them because of the psychological impact of what January 6th had on all of them. You, the people of the Department of Justice, represent the last hope of this nation in discharging your duty by bringing convictions in this house of cards, this destructive nature of Donald Trump and his supporters. In the words of another great leader of this nation, ask not what you can do for your, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Do not forget your oaths to the Constitution, to the people, and to the law. Show the rest of the world who still, regardless of their stature in the world of politics or in business, still envy the United States of America still show that this is a government for the people, of the people, and by the people. Nothing you do for the rest of your lives will mean more than that. It's up to you. Again, I want to thank you all for watching this video. I'm going to upload it on YouTube soon. And one last thing, before I close this out. A lot of people have been asking me, or accusing me, let me put it that way, of just doing these videos for profit. I am not doing them for profit. I don't have a secret Peloton account. I don't ask for people for money. I just do because I have no choice. The person who doesn't speak out against the evil in this country, the evil in this world, lets evil will win. I think the old axiom is, the will, all that is required for evil to win is the will of good men to do nothing. Here's to a few good men. CTP, know the truth, God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.